What's up, folks? Today I want to talk to you about creating the conditions that you want. And the reason that I want to talk about this is because you are not going to have the ideal conditions 90% of the time in your life. There's going to be only 10% of chances and opportunities that you will have the ideal, the perfect, the easiest conditions to do what you are trying to achieve. Two people come to mind when I'm thinking about examples of this particular concept. One is Matthew Dix. He is a phenomenal storyteller that I have fallen in love, like listening to his stories, reading and writing, and the way that he describes storytelling, especially in his book Storyworthy and Someday is Today. And the other person I want to mention is Sahil Bloom, who is kind of like from the financial sector and has now turned into the creator space. Both of these people talk about having to create the conditions that you want because there's not going to be a great day every day. One of the examples that Matthew Dix uses is actually just like writing in a parking lot on a curbside divider while he was waiting for his dental appointment to begin. And instead of waiting in a waiting room, he just went and wrote somewhere because he could. And I've done that too. I've kind of just editing in my car. In life, there is not going to be an ideal time for you to do everything at all the time. You have to create that condition. For me, one of these unideal conditions was being on my period the last few days. And yesterday, I could have used my period as a reason for me not running. But I chose to run anyway because I hadn't ran and done any activity for like 3 days. And for me, that's a lot, especially when I am training for a triathlon in June. And I'm not saying you can't use your period as a valid excuse, but periods are not traditionally supposed to be painful. If they are, there might be a medical condition that you need to ask a primary care physician about if you are able to do that. But if your period is painful and preventing you from doing things, there's probably an issue. Today, I'm actually staying at my partner's place, meaning I had to pack a bag and an extra set of stuff so that I could be prepared for today. And I intended to swim today, so I found a pool in his area. So I had to pack an extra bag just for my swim belongings. And that's one of those things where you really have to create the conditions yourself because there is so much that is out of your control in life. And that's the biggest lesson here is you have a lot less control than you realize, but you can control what you can control. I can control looking for a swimming pool that is not traditionally where I would go swimming. I can control being prepared to bring my belongings so that I can go swimming. And yes, it takes a little bit extra time, but it means that I am getting my training in, which is, again, very crucial to me actually getting to my triathlon in June. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on creating these conditions when you don't have the ideal conditions is when you're going on a trip. And I know it's a very privileged thing for me to be able to say that I can even go on a trip. But next week, I'll be in New York. And it does take a little bit more planning, but I have prepared what days I'm gonna run, what days I'm gonna swim, and where. I even asked my Airbnb host for recommendations, and she gave me one, which is awesome. And I say all of that because I could have taken this route that I have in the past where, I'm gonna be visiting a city, I'm gonna be trying to go see things, and I'm trying to be spending time with my friend, which is true. I'm going with one of my best friends from college, but also I owe it to myself to focus on my health and wellness no matter where I am in life, right? No matter if I am on a trip, my friend, I'm probably gonna get her to go on a run with me because she is a runner, so that helps, but it's also an added way that she and I can bond because that's a sport that is important to us, and that is a means of us maintaining our relationship as well as our promises to ourselves to be healthier people. I'm also gonna make her go on a bike ride because I love cycling, and I love cycling through New York City especially. And yeah, a past version of me would have said like, oh, I'm just gonna eat all of this trash food and, you know, go over budget and do all of these things that prevent me from going on a workout. But that's not the version of me that I am now. And wherever you are in life, I hope you know that it's never too late to change like old habits. You have to create the conditions that you want, because life will not hand them to you. You have to seek them out. You have to be persistent. And it's going to be hard, but life is not easy. You have to choose your hard every single day. And I urge you to create the conditions that you want now.